changeup to try to get him to roll over. Singleton never let him get there, but this pitch inside to Durazo is not even hittable.
Martinez has missed with 5 consecutive pitches. The 1-0. Durazo let that one go.
And this is why Durazo's hitting second in the lineup. Talk to the A's and say this guy has an outstanding eye. He makes the pitchers pitch to him. He's their leader in on-base percentage and in walks. But this is the part of the lineup that, if you're the Oakland A's, these are the guys you want coming up right now. Durazo, Chavez, and Tejada.
Durazo with a .374 on-base percentage. He walked 100 times during the season. That missed again, and it's ball 3.
But this is what the game is about. Last inning, Hudson has to face Garcia Carr and Manny Ramirez with runners in scoring position. Now it's Pedro's turn. He's got the middle of this A's order. They've got to do something right here.
Singleton and Ellis on board with 1 away. Durazo with excellent power, taking all the way, and it's 3-1. Well, A's general manager Billy Beane looked like he had robbed another team of a key player as the menace of Moneyball finally landed Durazo, a guy that he'd been after for a long time, in a 4-team deal last December. And Rubio came out blazing. 24 RBIs in his first 27 games, but then he cooled off quickly. He drove in just 43 over the next 4 months. Looking for a big RBI here, and he knocks that one toward the alley. Nixon on the move, can't get it. It's up against the fence. Singleton is in. Ellis rounding third. He's going to score. 2 runs home. Oakland leads it 2-1.
Well, you knew there wouldn't be that many opportunities to score against Pedro Martinez tonight. But boy, did they capitalize on this opportunity right here. Exactly what they needed. Now they got the fans, the crowd back into the game. Everybody's over there slapping high fives. This is playoff baseball.
David, you were talking about Durazo being very patient and waiting on a pitch that he can hit, even against the caliber of Pedro Martinez, and he gets 3-1 and gets him a real nice pitch, puts it in the gap.
This is a great at-bat by Durazo, and he's excited.
And he winds up making Ken Maka look pretty darn smart here early in this one. The A's now lead Pedro Martinez and the Red Sox 2-1. That one jacked long but foul. Chavez, who hit 29 home runs during the season. And so now Grady Little and the Red Sox looking up at Oakland for the first time.
And if you look at this inning, this is not just about the Oakland A's taking the lead. It goes back to what we were talking about in the beginning. Pedro is having to throw a lot of pitches.
Hit the other way, slicing. Ramirez is going to make the catch. Durazo retreats back to second. 2 down. Hit sharply, though, by Chavez, and some pretty good hacks in this inning by the Oakland A's.
Well, what they've done this inning is they haven't swung at the balls. They've made him come to them. And if he decided not to come to him, well, they were taking the walk. Ellis took a big walk. Durazo did swing at the pitches out of the strike zone and made Pedro come to him, got a pitch he could handle, and hit a double.
Well, coming into this inning, Pedro thrown 26 pitches. We just saw that graphic. He's almost doubled that in this inning alone.
Here's Tejada looking at strike 1. Miguel 0 for 1. He's tapped back to the mound. And looking at the playoff failures of the Oakland A's of the last 3 years, one thing that really stands out, they have not gone to the World Series despite excellent pitching staffs and terrific ball clubs. Tejada and Chavez in the heart of their lineup just have not gotten it done. Just 2 home runs combined in 125 playoff at-bats for those two.
And this offense goes as Chavez and Tejada goes.
Right.
Big time. You saw it the second half of the season. Both those guys got hot, and the whole team took off.
The 1-1 pitch, fouled off to the right, out of play. And Tejada, of course, at the beginning of the year, killed his chance to repeat as American League MVP with a miserable slump starting the season, and he hit just .216 through June 5th, but he turned it up to about .314 over the last 104 games while driving in 73 runs, and that is Miguel Tejada. That's a high 2-2.
Well, starting the season, he was dealing with the contract status. He was dealing with potentially becoming a free agent. He wanted to outdo what he did last year. And anytime you do that, there's a tendency to put extra pressure on yourself.
You're in trouble. 2 down, a runner at second, 2 runs in for the A's. Oh, he took himself a hack. Just got a piece of it.
And he's upset about it. He knew he got a fastball that he could handle, and he just missed it. Here's a 2-2 fastball. Pedro wants it inside and actually leaves it a little bit over the middle of the plate. And Tejada wishes he had that one back.
Tejada originally signed as a 17-year-old by Juan Marichal, the Dominican dandy. Tejada makes his home in Santo Domingo, like Pedro Martinez. And Miguel says that he plans to lean on his neighbor for some advice about Tejada's big free agent decision this winter. Tejada's already spoken to Pedro about it when they were in Boston recently. He says they're going to meet again over the winter. Up the middle of the base hit. A single, and here comes DeRosa rounding third. He's going to score. And now Tejada slipped. He's in a rundown. Hung up between first and second. Millar runs at him. Now Garcia-Parra. And they finally tag him out. But he does pick up an RBI. That's 3 runs on the board for the Oakland A's. And they take the lead. They knock Pedro Martinez around. 3-1, Oakland. Well, the turnaround here in Oakland here in game number 1. Now the A's have a 3-1 lead as we go to the 4th inning. Tejada part of that, driving in a run against his buddy Pedro Martinez. I think he's saying he left a pitch up, and he's done that a couple of times over the last inning or 2.
And now they have the momentum, too. Now all the pregame nervousness is gone now. Oakland is now settled into playing this ball game. It's very important now for Hudson to get through this inning unscathed so that he can keep that momentum flowing in that dugout.
Ortiz 0 for 1 as he bangs a foul. Up next, Kevin Millar and then Bill Miller.
Hudson's just got to continue to try to work to get that ball down in the strike zone. He's starting to make that transition from that adrenaline-powered sinker up in the strike zone. Now he's starting to get the ball down. When he's down, he's deadly.
Well, down a lot in this ballpark where he is just fantastic. 40-13, his career record in this pitcher's park in Oakland, California.
Well, this is definitely a pitcher's ballpark. If you look at all the foul territory, it's a ballpark that's very spacious as well in the outfield. The ball does not carry all that well at night. It's definitely a pitcher's ballpark.
1-2 pitch, swung on and missed. He blows away Ortiz with a high fastball. Well, we've talked about the failures recently of the Oakland A's in the postseason, but you go back to the late 1980s, Dave Stewart on the mound, they were just about automatic. The ace of that staff, he joins our Dave Bryant. Dave?
That's right, 4 straight years, Dave, winning 20 games in the 1989 Earthquake World Series victory. A's over the Giants. You're seeing Tim Hudson, Dave, tonight struggle a bit with the adrenaline at the beginning of the game. The guys upstairs talked about that. How difficult is it to control adrenaline on the mound in a postseason game the way Tim Hudson is tonight?
Well, it's a big crowd here in Oakland on this first game, and I mean, you're going to have jitters, but it's different than what you experienced during the season. It's just a matter of, throwing a few pitches, get some outs, and then you settle down. Speaking of adrenaline, what's it like for you to come here and watch as a fan of this Coliseum? I'll tell you what, throwing out that first pitch, I didn't recognize that kind of noise when I was pitching here. It's unbelievable. This is a nice crowd. If there's such a thing as the 10th fan, it's here tonight. Couple of days you're going to be working with the U.S. Olympic qualifying team. What kind of things can you teach young pitchers who are trying to make that Olympic team in Athens? Well, I mean, I think that my specialty in pitching is mentally getting guys ready to play the game and pitch. And so if there's anything that I can lend to them, it's that aspect of the game. Dave Stewart, a team record, 241 straight starts, Dave.
Just 7 pitches, and Tim Hudson, kind of like Stu, gets them 1-2-3, a dominating inning. The A's lead it 3-1 in the middle of the 4th.
A third, but before that, he has some unfinished business with the man who says he's out for revenge. 2-time world champion Eric Morales takes on former world champ Gutierrez Espadez Jr. in a rematch of their controversial battle from 2001. Also in action, Carlos Hernandez, Rafael Marquez, and Jorge Arce, live on In Demand pay-per-view.
Get your ringside seat for Morales versus Espadez, live October 4th on In Demand.
2 champions, 1 out for revenge at a special time, 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern.
I saw the ads thinking I was going to get it all for one low price, and I bought the dish. It was a mistake, I'll tell you. I thought I'd save money. It cost me a bundle. All those hidden fees and extra charges, on top of poor reception during bad weather. And I've got this ugly dish stuck on my house. So if you're thinking about buying a dish, you better think twice. With Adelphia, it's all about the best deal.
For the best in entertainment, choose Adelphia. It's all about value.
Bottom half of inning number 4 here. Scott Hatterberg leading off against Pedro Martinez, who was roughed up for 3 hits, 2 doubles. He also walked a man. Gave up 3 runs in the 3rd inning. And this is really how it started for Pedro. The beginning of the difficulty, which led to those 22 pitches in the 3rd inning, falling behind hitters, which Dave Justice, he was not doing the first couple of innings.
Right, he was establishing that first pitch fastball and then going from there. Now he seems to have lost his control. He's finding himself in more hitters counts, and these guys are taking advantage of that.
Hatterberg 0 for 1. He's grounded out. Here comes the 3-0 pitch. He's taking all the way, and that's a strike. We've talked about Jason Varitek, the all-star catcher for the Red Sox, who has been Boston starting catcher in each of Pedro's 59 starts over the last 2 seasons. The last man to catch him, other than Varitek, was the man in the batter's box now for Oakland, Scott Hatterberg. He was in the season finale in 2001. Otherwise, it's been Varitek and Varitek only. 3-2 pitch, rocking it up the middle, sailing to Damon, and he'll make the catch. That one right on the screws by Hatterberg, though. 4 out number 1. Well, Tiger Woods begins defense of his World Golf Championships American Express Championship tomorrow against a contingent of great international golfers, including Ernie Els and Mike Weir. ESPN's coverage begins with SportsCenter at the American Express Championship tomorrow and Friday at 1:30 Eastern each day. 1 down, and here's Guillen. He singled in the second, 1 for 1. Not a guy who's going to stand around and wait for ball 4. And that strategy has worked over the years against Pedro Martinez. He's a .318 hitter with a home run against the righty.
Pedro starts him with the same pitch that he hit back up the box last time. Nice little curveball.
One ball and 1 strike. Now, Pedro struck out the 3rd man that he faced tonight, and that was Eric Chavez to complete the 1st inning. But he hasn't struck anybody out since then. Little jam shot, but pop foul, and that's going to sail over the dugout. Of course, Martinez during the regular season missed the American League Strikeout Championship by 1.
That pitch right there again is going to give him trouble. Any fastballs inside, when you really need to pull that hand through to get the bat head to it, is going to be tough for him because he does not have the strength in that left hand to really pull it through as well as he would if that hand was 100%.
Broken bone, a hammered bone in the left hand, and occasionally he'll even step out and manipulate that bone a little bit, JB, because it starts barking at him. I mean, it hurts anyway. It hurts all the time, but he can actually move it a little bit.
Well, he was telling me that he tries to take, when it starts bothering him, he tries to take a little more time in between pitches.
Fastball on a corner, got him looking. And there's the 2nd K in the book tonight for Pedro.
Well, this is the spot that Pedro missed just about every time last inning, trying to get that fastball with a little comebacker right on that outside corner that's knee high. If the ball's elevated and it runs back over the plate, hitters usually put that ball in play with some authority. Right there, that's a perfect pitch. That's where Pedro's got to pitch.
And it's even more of a perfect pitch when you just threw one about 93, 94 inside to get the hitter looking inside.
Right.
He faces Ramon Hernandez here, 0 for 1 with a fly to center. 21 home runs during the regular season. An all-star catcher, set career highs in homers and batting average and runs batted in.
But to this point in the ball game, the Oakland A's game plan has worked to a T. They want to be patient. They want to make Pedro throw pitches, but they've got to score runs too, and they've done both of those to this point.
Right. What they're doing is they're being patient in the strike zone. They're making him throw them strikes. If he doesn't want to throw strikes, hey, we'll just take the walk.
Now, so far it has not, at least to the level we had hoped, been the pitcher's duel that we were talking about. a 3-1 game. But if Martinez gets through this inning in 1-2-3 fashion after the rough inning he had in the third, it may settle into exactly that kind of a game.
Well, it's easy to talk about having patience and having your adrenaline under control, but let's face it, fellas, this is the playoffs. This is a totally different story than the regular season. Your heart is beating fast. You're trying to do things and your brain's spinning. I mean, this is a tough situation even for veterans like Hudson and Martinez.
The 2-1 is up top. 3 balls and a strike on Hernandez. Now Pedro Martinez has not allowed a home run to a right-hand hitter all season long. The comparison between Pedro and Tim Hudson. The 2 aces going toe-to-toe. The 3-1 pitch. Up high again. And he's missing upstairs, too. He's walked his second man in as many innings.
Well, Pedro didn't like that call. He thought that was at the top of the strike zone. And he wanted this pitch. He might have been up a little. But he wants that pitch.
Well, it's a stare that Dave Stewart would be proud of.
Well, he can stare all he wants, but he better start concentrating on getting that ball down in the strike zone and stop staring at Randy Marsh.
Here's Dye, and that's way out of the strike zone for ball 1.
When you start worrying about what the home plate umpire is doing, it takes you out of your ball game. You start to think about excuses instead of about execution, and that is a major problem for the Red Sox if this starts to happen to Pedro right here.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time that Randy Marsh, with a very tough strike zone, a tight zone, got under the skin of a big league pitcher. That one missed the corner clearly, and it's 2-0.
Well, we call it a tight zone when really he's just calling a strike and a ball with a ball. I mean, a guy like me, I love Randy Marsh, whereas maybe a guy like Jeff Brantley wouldn't like Randy Marsh. You know, so it depends on who you're talking to.
I was always fine with Randy. I like his strike zone.
But basically, he's not being tight. He's just calling a strike, and a ball, a ball.
There you go.
Pedro has different ideas. It's popped up into shallow right, and Walker there for the catch, and that retires the side. So Martinez walks one man. Nothing comes of that, and it remains Oakland 3 and Boston 1.
Well, he has 67 through 4. Right. That's probably 7, 8 over what he needs to be. You know, he could pitch 130 pitches right now. I just don't like the pitches he's throwing. He got hit hard early. Looks like he's afraid of contact.
Looks like he's also concerned with the umpire. Let's go back now to Dave, Jeff, and Dave.
Well, it certainly appears that way to us, gentlemen. 3-1 Oakland as we go to the top half of the 5th inning, and Trot Nixon in there facing Hudson, who gave up a home run to Todd Walker in the 1st inning.
Now that swing right there didn't look like anything was wrong with that calf. And Nixon with a left calf injury. He worked out yesterday. Looked pretty good in the cage. Was able to get his running in, but he's still in some pain as he swings right through it. Let's go downstairs to Dave Ryan. Dave.
Well, I talk about Trot Nixon missing the last 5 games of the regular season with that calf injury, guys. He said yesterday the last thing he wants to create is a problem for his teammates. If he's not 100%, he doesn't want to drag them down. He says it's hard to say that because he wants to play so badly, but he didn't talk about himself and how the injury might affect the entire team. And after yesterday's workout, Trot said the calf felt fine. He would tell Grady Little that he's healthy enough to play, and we talked with Grady before the game tonight. They're expecting as much as they can get from him in this game 1, but in game 2, perhaps he won't be in right field because the left-handers the A's will be throwing the next 2 games out.
Nixon 0 for 1 tonight. He struck out his first time. Foul tip that one. He got his bat on it when he didn't mean to.
And they're starting to play right into Hudson's hands.
Yes,
he established the fastball early, and now he's starting to throw that split finger out of the strike zone. The difference between this Boston team and that Oakland team is that Boston is chasing balls out of the strike zone, whereas Oakland has been very patient in the strike zone. Boston needs to continue their patience, make them throw them strikes. If you start chasing that split finger out of the zone, this game will be over real quick.
Swinging a high fly to center, but routine play for Chris Singleton. He waits beneath it, 1 away.
Well, you can see Hudson really starting to get the ball down in the strike zone. When your sinker and your fastball are down in the strike zone, it's very difficult to recognize an off-speed pitch. So you try to cheat a little bit, try to get your hand out there. Well, Pedro is not doing that. His ball is up in the strike zone, and you can see this ball here, even though that ball's up in the strike zone, Nixon is already committing, looking for the ball down. It's very hard to be aggressive when you can't tell what the pitches are.
Varitek up there now. He ripped a single his first time up, David.
And he also had Nixon out front, so you never know how much of that calf muscle, the strain of that, is causing him to get out over that front leg, therefore out in front of all 3 pitches.
Swinging a high fly ball to right field. That one has a chance. Sailing to the corner, and she's gone. Varitek with a home run. And the Red Sox pull within 1. Twice tonight, solo home runs by Boston. They hit 238 of them during the season. That's a club record. Couple of solo shots against Tim Hudson, and it is 3-2.
This Red Sox ball club, they're going to keep coming at you. 9 innings, 27 outs. He hangs this pitch right over the middle of the plate. And as Jeff was saying earlier, he needs to get his ball down in the strike zone. Tim Hudson is most effective when he stays around the knees. When he starts getting up around the waist and the mid-thigh, he can be hit hard.
Well, in a normal lineup, when you're facing the number 9 here, you can flip a breaking ball up or just try to get ahead with a lazy split finger. In this lineup, you can't flip anything up there. We saw that right there. Varitek hits that out of the park.
Damon hits that sharply down to get it. Hatterberg, the former Red Sox, makes a nice play for round number 2. So Johnny Damon 1 out of 3 tonight. That'll bring up Garcia Parra.
He really hits this ball hard. That's good positioning. Hatterberg stays down and make sure he got it. Make sure he got it.
He was checking the glove, make sure he got it.
So the bases are empty for Nomar, who has struck out and hit into a fielder's choice. He's 0 for 2. It's a busy night for the future Mr. and Mrs. Garcia Parra. While Nomar opens this playoff series in Oakland, his future wife, the superstar Mia Hamm, faced Norway in the World Cup quarterfinals tonight, and the United States won that game 1-0. And Mia did not score that goal, but that was a revenge match. Norway beat the USA in the 2000 Olympic gold medal game. Last Sunday, the Red Sox gave Nomar the day off. Boston was in Tampa at the time and was able to travel to Ohio to see his sweetheart play against North Korea. She didn't play in the game, though. She was rested. It's in there for a strike.
Well, they really want to get Nomar on track, though. In September, he only hit 170. This is a guy that means so much to their ball club. If they can get him rolling, it only adds to this offense.
3-1 on Nomar.
I can't believe he hasn't swung yet. Most of the time within the first 3 pitches, Nomar has already either got a hit or heading back to the dugout.
3-1, rips it and a base hit into left. Second hit in the inning off Hudson, who has allowed 2 home runs in the game, and that matches his season high. Here comes Todd Walker. He's perfect tonight. And it started in the first inning with this drive to right.
Well, you got him on the board quick. This is exactly what you need when you're in the opposing team's stadium. Get the crowd out of it, energize your team, put yourself on the board, and that's exactly what they needed in the first inning.
Well, you had to expect something like this out of Walker because he finished the regular season so strong. He hit .347 in September with 16 runs batted in. High for ball 1. From Network Associates Coliseum here in Oakland, California. It's game 1 of the division series. Boston against Oakland. Great to have you with us. Dave Ryan down with us on the field. Dave O'Brien, David Justice, Jeff Brantley. Tim Hudson against Pedro Martinez. And that's where we came on the air tonight talking about. But now there are 7 hits for Boston, 4 for Oakland. The A's got all 3 of their runs so far in the 3rd inning off Pedro Martinez. But the Red Sox have had the long ball in their favor tonight with 2 solo shots.
Both of these guys are basically mirroring each other. When Pedro gets the ball up, when Hudson gets the ball up, good swings happen. When they're locating that ball inside, outside, keeping it down in the zone, there's no hits being out there.
Well, it's been Walker and Varitek for the most part. The rest of the lineup for Boston just 3 out of 16 off of Hudson. There's a real good sinker, cut fastball, a splitter, an excellent changeup. There's quite a menu of pitches, and that one zips in for strike.
Well, you watch Hudson, he's been very aggressive in the strike zone. He's been up in the strike zone a little bit, but the one thing that he has not done is walk any of these Boston Red Sox hitters. If you walk Red Sox hitters and you give them free passes, all of a sudden those single-shot home runs turn into 2- and 3-run jobs.
Garciaparra on at first. Up the middle. Is he going to sweep through? Diving over by Ellis. He can't get it. Garciaparra rounding second. He's into third standing up, and they're on the corners. And a 2-out threat here for the Red Sox. And for Boston, the tying run is just 90 feet away now.
And this really wasn't a bad pitch. It's just that Ellis was playing more over in the hole and therefore wasn't able to make a play on this. He pretty much wanted that location low and away.
But also knowing that Manny's on deck with 2 outs, you want to make Walker hit the baseball. And now all of a sudden we look down and Todd Walker's got 3 hits. I think it benefits Walker being able to hit in front of a guy like Manny Ramirez because you know you're going to get strikes.
And you know you're going to get fastballs.
Got that right.
Well, now Manny should see some strikes with Ortiz after him. Of course, Ortiz with 31 home runs in his own right. Ramirez at 37 during the season. Runners at first and third for Boston. Serves that one to Tejada, and that retires the side. They've gotten Ramirez 3 times tonight, and he's around 5 men on base. Hudson's made the big pitches on him every time. We're halfway through game 1 here in Oakland, California, and the A's have a 3-2 lead over the Red Sox, even though Boston has out-hit the A's 8-4. For Singleton with one of those hits, an extra base shot, a double in the 3rd inning. That's when the A's woke up offensively and pushed across 3 against the Red Sox ace. So it'll be Singleton, Ellis, and then Durazo, 9-1-2 batting against Pedro, and that one popped up into shallow center. Garciaparra out for it. 1 down. It's game 2 coming up tomorrow. The Red Sox against the Oakland A's on ESPN2 at 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 Pacific. Zito against the knuckleballer Wakefield. And the Twins and the Yankees also play game 2. That's on Fox at 8 o'clock Eastern time. Minnesota in front 1-0. Pettit against Radke in the 2nd game of that series. Mark Ellis is flied out. He's also walked and scored tonight. Fouled away. The Oakland offense just .254 during the season. Here's their club batting average, the 3rd lowest in the American League. But they're used to playing in games like this, David. And when you were here in Oakland, you got your fill of 3-2 and 2-1 games. And they're used to winning these games.
Right. I mean, when you have the experience of being in these type of games, it only helps your ball club. This is a team offensively, collectively, did not really tear up the ball this year. But they came up with a lot of big hits at the right time, and their pitching was outstanding all year.
The 0-2, little looper headed toward right. Nixon won't get it. It falls in for a base hit. So Ellis is on for the 2nd time. The leadoff man with his first hit. A 1-out single in the 5th. That'll bring up Durazo next, and he's already been trouble for Pedro Martinez with a 2-run double.
You talk about experience and being able to get to the postseason, but when does that experience of going to the postseason and continuing to lose game 1 or the series 1 turn into expectations of, God, when are you guys ever going to make it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, when you're a part of a team that is always talked about, hey, you get there, but you haven't won. I think of the Braves, 91-92 when we lost. Well, 95 came around. Everyone said, you have to win the World Series. And that was the pressure that you felt. They were already comparing that Braves team to the Buffalo Bills. And at that point in time in the 90s, you didn't want to be comparing to the Buffalo Bills because a team that was very good but didn't win anything. So there is some pressure on these teams, both these teams, to win the World Series. And playing for those teams, you feel that pressure. You know that it's there.
Yeah, I would say there's a slight bit of pressure on the Red Sox to win the World Series.
Just slight.
Just a little bit. But, you know, game 1, there's a debate as to how important, even in a short series, game 1 is. You go back to 1995, when postseason expanded to 8 teams, the club winning the first game of the division series has gone on to win the series 21 out of 32 times. And especially in a series like this, with Pedro Martinez on the mound for Boston, Tim Hudson for Oakland, it has to be huge. Fouled away by Durazo.
Well, it's just what it does to your ball club. If Boston loses tonight, they're losing with their man, their best. So what it sends throughout your ball club is, we just played the Oakland A's, we threw our best, and we lost. And now tomorrow we have to come back with Wakefield, who you don't know if it could be Jekyll and Hyde. You don't know if his knuckleball is going to be there for you or not. But there will be more confidence with this Oakland ball club facing Wakefield after having beat Pedro, if that's how it turns out tonight.
Thrown away by Martinez, and that one into that vast foul territory. Ellis heading into third base. It's finally picked up by the Red Sox, but it's going to bounce and roll all day if you throw it away like that, and it did. A runner at third.
And when you talk about playoffs, especially in short series, you want to limit the mistakes, because you're talking about a race to 3 wins. You don't want to give the other team any more opportunities than necessary. This could come back and be a huge play if he's able to score.
The mistake that Pedro makes here is trying to pick the guy off of first base. Whenever you're picking to first, all you're trying to do is make him shorten up his lead a little bit so he doesn't get a great jump to second base, whether it's a ground ball or whether he's trying to steal. If you're picking to first base like that and trying to make a perfect throw, more times than not, that ball's going down the right field line.
Well, Oakland's been given another opportunity now. And especially with the infield now moved in, is a better chance for Durazo to get one through.
I mean, it's one thing if Pedro's facing a ball club like the Florida Marlins, who run from the time that they show up at the ballpark. I mean, this is the Oakland A's. They play station to station. Why are you trying to pick the guy off first base? Just make a nice, easy throw just to keep him short, to keep the double play in it.
They have a Juan Pierre over there at first base. He might have scored on that play. As it went way into the corner. So here's Durazo. He's already doubled in 2, and he chases a high one right through it. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
When you see those infielders in Tiger thing, and they're right on top of me. If I just made contact, I know I can get this run in.
You see that RBI at third base, and you see dollar signs in your head.
Oh, yeah, you see the slaps, the high fives, and the dugout, you're seeing it all.
The outfield has to play deep. Low scorers trying to score. Pedro coming home. Play at the plate. Collision. He is out at home. Ellis cut down. Trying to score on contact. And out at the plate. 2 down.
How do you hit this, David? This ball is on his knuckles.
Well, that was one of the pitches where you're thinking, I'm going to take. No, it might be too close. Let me swing. I mean, that's exactly the feeling. When you're thinking, I'm going to take this pitch inside, in the last second, you're thinking, oh, no.
What happened to Durazo? He was so patient the first time up, and now he gets a runner at third base. He loses his mind.
Pedro actually barehanded that ball. It had so much English on it. It was spinning so quickly, he didn't have time to glove it. Terrific play by Martinez to barehand and throw a strike to the plate. So 2 down here. Eric Chavez has struck out and lined out to left, 0 for 2. Only 25 years old, and yet he's averaged 32 homers, 108 RBIs over the last 3 years. I'm going to take one more look at this. Now, what do you think on a slide? Does he get in there? Is Ellis safe?
If he slides, Veritek's going to break his ankles. Veritek's one of the best at blocking the plate.
Yeah.
That's the best move for him right there. Veritek outweighs him probably about 25, 30 pounds. Just hoping maybe he can knock it loose.
Yeah, I think 25 or 30 pounds, that's after a week of salads. I think you're right. One pitch inside.
Just didn't want to call Veritek a fat man, that's all.
Well, he's not. He's in excellent shape, actually.
He's a man, we'll say that. I can tell you that. Standing up next to him, he's a man.
He's a catcher, too.
A grown man, not just a man.
Runner at first base and cut on and missed by Chavez.
See, Pedro's now starting to mix in his other pitches. Earlier in the game, he was establishing a fastball. Now he's starting to mix in the breaking ball and the changeup. Starting to use his whole repertoire of pitches.
Well, this is about the time in the ball game where Pedro starts to turn it up a notch. I think his arm starts to feel comfortable, and he starts letting it fly.
Fly ball short left. In comes Ramirez. So Pedro does a very good job overcoming his own throwing error to keep Boston within 1. The A's on top here, 3-2 in game 1.
Can you give it? Can you take it? Can you feel it? Playoff baseball.
A close one here in Oakland. 3-2 the A's as we get the 6th inning underway. Pedro Martinez and Tim Hudson. Hudson with 16 wins during the regular season. Pedro with 14. Hudson with a 2.70 ERA. Martinez the best in baseball at 2.22. David Ortiz, a buddy of Pedro's, 0 for 2 tonight. He has flied out and struck out. Millar next, and then Bill Miller for the slugging Sox. And then for a change, some positive postseason trends for Boston. Last year, both wild card teams made it to the World Series for the first time ever. And since 1995, the year the wild card was introduced, wild card teams have actually fared just as well as division champs with a 14-14 playoff record. That one is in there for a strike on Ortiz.
And 3-1, key in on your pitch. You have one to give. If it's in your area, put a great whack on it.
Well, Ortiz can certainly do that. Popped up, it is a playable. Chavez, the 2-time Gold Glover near the top. He's got room.
And that's why this is a pitcher's ballpark.
Our storylines to this point. Walker and Veritek are perfect tonight for Boston, but the rest of them haven't done too much. DeRozzo did with a 2-run double for the A's in the 3rd inning. That's when they scored 3 times to take the lead. And Tim Hudson has had an interesting night. 5+ innings now. 8 hits he's allowed, but he has struck out 5.
But he hasn't walked the batter. We saw right there 3-0, and he comes back and gets Ortiz.
And now there might be something up with him, because here comes Rick Peterson along with the trainer. The pitching coach is out there. Ken Maka trailing as well. And this looks like an injury visit. It certainly is for Hudson. Now, did he do something on that pitch?
Well, I think Rick Peterson is just trying to make sure that there's nothing wrong with his #1 starter. And you see Hudson shaking his head a little bit. I think there's got to be an issue here.
Yeah, he's grimacing like there is a problem.
Getting him out of this ball game, that's going to be tough. This guy's not going to want to leave.
Well, let's see if he throws a pitch or 2 here, or if he waves everybody off. Let's get a look at that last pitch. He popped up Ortiz on it into foul territory. See if we can pick anything up. As it sails off 3rd in foul ground. Just a heavy side there, but nothing beyond that. And he says he's going to stay in. And pitch to Kevin Millar here. JB, did you notice anything on his follow-through?
I didn't notice anything, but I did notice his facial expression. When you're looking back at the catcher and telling the trainer that you're all right, obviously there's something up.
And he fires in a strike there on Millar, who has singled and grounded out tonight. He's up to 86 pitches, 58 for strikes.
But when you want to stay in the ball game, you don't tell him nothing.
Rattled foul by Millar. He's quickly in the hole.
David, on that 3-1 pitch, Ortiz gets a pitch in the strike zone. It looked like he pulled off of it a little bit, and you were just saying about getting a pitch that you know you can handle. How many times do you see guys overswing on a 3-1 pitch, trying to hit it to the moon, and end up getting themselves out, especially in a spacious park like this?
Well, you see it a lot. That's why you tell yourself, if it's a good pitch, don't overswing, just drive right through it. Guys, especially as big as Ortiz, they don't need to swing 100%. I used to always feel like 80% will get you 100%. As big as he is, all he has to do is meet the ball squarely, and he'll supply the power that he needs.
Well, the last fastball, 93 miles an hour. If he is injured, it's not affecting the heater. That one dropped a little bit low on Millar, and in fact, we're getting a report from the field. The Oakland A's trainer says there's nothing wrong with it.
Well, we've seen 3 pitches in a row where he's thrown the ball with a lower, almost sidearm delivery. That tells me that something's going on in the back of his shoulder. When you're throwing the ball from down there, something's up with the back of your shoulder. You can't get your arm all the way on top.
Fought off by Millar. So at least as far as what he's telling the trainers and his manager and his pitching coach, he's saying there's nothing the matter.
If he's totally healthy, then we don't have anybody warming up in the bullpen. Something is up. Maka knows it. So does Peterson. Hudson just doesn't want to tell him.
One out. The bases are empty. Hudson trying to get Millar for the second time tonight. Line, and that is going to be a fair ball down into the corner. Ian chases it. And it's a base hit for Millar. He's 2 for 3. Now, is that a sign maybe something's up with Hudson?
Well, he's going to try to get through this inning if he can. And that's why they have someone up. Because I agree with Jeff. I think something is wrong.
Well, you can see these pitches. Hudson starts over the top. That ball doesn't do anything. That ball's from the side. That ball's from the top. It's down in. This ball's from the side. It's a breaking ball. Another ball from the top. This is from the side again. We haven't seen this from Tim Hudson all game long until we see him grimace after the foul ball to Ortiz. Something is up with Tim Hudson.
Rincon continues to throw in the Oakland A's bullpen. Here's Bill Miller. 0 for 2, and that's in time.
And I think the point you made, the fact is he's not in trouble. He's still in command of this game. If there wasn't anything wrong with him, no one would be warming up.
They see it just as we see it. It's just a matter of when do they want to pull the trigger. Or do you wait till Miller hits one out there in the seats, then you bring in Rincon?
Or do you take a chance on whatever it is, flaring up even more?
High pop into right, but in comes Jermaine Dye to get it. 2 down, so he is 1 out away from surviving the inning. And who knows if it's one of those things where if he gets through this inning, gets one final out, gets some time to recuperate in the dugout, maybe get some treatment back in the clubhouse, he can stay in longer.
I can't imagine that in this type of playoff atmosphere, especially after watching Mulder go down with his injury, that you continue to take a chance in this situation. This guy is one of the top pitchers in the league. He's going to be here a long time. I think even though this is a playoff game and you've got the lead, you can't let Tim Hudson throw sidearm like he's throwing out there right now.
Maka directing a little traffic for his team defensively. Kevin Millar at first base. Nixon has struck out. He's also flied to center. And the first pitch is swatted right through for strike 1. Well, let's go back to the last pitch and take another look. Now he's definitely doing something there around that hip, around that side, Dave Justice.
Well, that's his forearm that he's working on right there.
There's definitely something wrong with him. It's whether or not how long do you leave him in and risk any further damage or risk any further injury. Like Jeff was saying, this guy means too much to your team. If you leave him out there too long, and whatever it is flares up, he may not even be able to make his own start.
He's totally changed his pitching style. There's 2 changeups in a row. He hadn't done that all night long. He's thrown the ball sidearm when Millar was up there. To me, there's something up with Tim Hudson. You've got to address it, and you've got to address it now.
And yet, he's gone to 0-2. He has the crowd into it. 2 strikes on Nixon. Millar at first, 2 out. And he does have a 3-2 lead. Rincon is watching like everybody else now. Is set and the 0-2 pitch. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Nixon.
And I think part of that pitch right there is just trying to change the eye level of Trot Nixon. You can see Ramon Hernandez really get up high, trying to get that mitt up in the air, throw the ball up high, change the eye level of Nixon, and then go back to that changeup that he threw him on the first 2 pitches.
Well, Nixon with 28 home runs during the season, 25 of them off right-hand pitchers. But that's when his leg was healthy and he didn't have that strained calf. Hits that one on the ground to Ellis. He gobbles it up, and the side is retired. So if Hudson is ailing, he guts his way through the inning. One man left. The A's still in front by 1 in the middle of the 6th.
ESPN's presentation of the 2003 MLB Division Series, brought to you by Sonic. It's not just good, it's Sonic good.
Bottom 6 here in Game 1 of the Division Series between the Oakland A's and the Boston Red Sox. Pedro Martinez still out there, as is Tim Hudson. Hudson has the 3-2 lead, but he was ailing clearly in the last inning. The pitching arm giving him some problems. Tejada tonight, 1 for 2 with an RBI single. That's when Oakland scored all 3 of their runs in the 3rd inning off Martinez. Scott Hatteberg up next, and then Jose Guillen. And Pedro's breaking ball is hammered at third base. A clean play by Miller for the first out. Now, let's go back in between innings as Hudson left the mound after getting that final out.
I mean, if you can watch Hudson right here, watch this right hand right down here. Watch him wiggle those fingers. See him wiggling his fingers? What that tells me is he's got some problems with his forearm. Anytime that you're throwing a split finger, you're really trying to grip it, especially in a game of this type of magnitude. You squeeze the ball a little bit too hard, really trying to turn it over. All that pronation really puts some stress on the forearm muscles, and that's what he's trying to live with right now.
Is that like a spasm? Is that
I think it's just a spasm. I don't think it's a dangerous situation at all. I don't think it's anything to do with his shoulder. I think what it is just the forearm. He's got to stretch it out. I think he'll be okay.
Fouled away by Hatteberg. He is 0 for 2. Throwing a lot of splitters tonight. Here's another one. Someone diving down and getting Trot Nixon out in front.
When you're making the ball do that, you're really turning that ball over.
Let's go down to Dave Bryant. Dave.
Well, I just talked to Larry Davis, Dave, the head trainer of the Oakland A's, a few moments ago. He says there is a little bit of cramping in the forearm, as Jeff Brantley pointed out, but actually the cramp is in the right pitching thumb of Tim Hudson. It actually hurts, so they just worked a little bit between innings on that, but he said, really, for the most part, to the trainer that he's all right, doesn't need too much more treatment, and we'll be able to continue the game tonight.
We talked about this earlier, David. You get out there at this ball game and your heart's beating fast. You start squeezing the ball, squeezing the bat. That's part of playoff baseball. It's only natural.
The 1-2 pitch, check swing foul away by Hatteberg. He grew up in Washington State. He actually plays some ball in the Alaskan League as well, and has become an avid fly fisherman. Maybe casting for a fastball here on 1-2, and he gets it, swinging a pop-up into right short, and Nixon in for the second out. JB, you were talking about all those split finger pitches he throws. We talked to Tim Hudson about that before tonight's game.
I see you split of the fingers, and I try to hook the seam with my index finger, thumb underneath, and I just try to throw it just like I would my fastball, and just try to really get out front with it, and really put a lot of emphasis on my index finger. You know, you want it to come off right here, because you're wanting it to go down and away to a lefty or down into a righty. And hooking that seam and having a strong index finger is what's going to give that rotation to go that way.
And that basically follows the same type of hand pronation that he uses with his fastball. And that's what he gets. That's why he gets that run. And a lot of times from our center field camera, you can't tell the difference unless you look at the gun to see what the pitch is. You can't look at the pitch and tell the difference between fastball and split finger, and that makes it even tougher for the hitter.
And that's why he's so good, because sometimes, as you said, it comes out looking like a fastball until it dips. Yeah. Guys commit to it, and all of a sudden they realize, oh, that's a split finger. It's too late. You got to swing.
2 down, bases clean. Swung on and missed, and Pedro Martinez strikes out Guillen for the second time and gets them 1-2-3. He needs some more run support. It's the Oakland A's 3, the Red Sox 2. We've come to the top of the 7th here in Oakland. The A's holding a slim 3-2 lead here in Game 1 over the Red Sox. Boston with 9 hits to Oakland's 5. All sorts of activity as Bradford has now joined Rincon, the left-hander, in the Oakland A bullpen. Hudson got Trot Nixon to ground out to end the 6th inning. Even though that thumb was really barking at him, giving him trouble. And he's had trouble with Varitek tonight. He's a perfect 2 for 2, including a solo home run to right in the 5th.
And this game is setting up just like Oakland usually wants to set up. Huddy is getting them in the 7th inning. Now they usually go to Bradford or to Rincon and then set up for Folks. So set them nicely, just the way they want it to.
I don't think Hudson is comfortable at all. That split finger that he threw the first pitch was not the normal split. And that pitch there was only 90. It was bell high.
Well, it becomes mental too, doesn't it, Jeff? When you know that you have something wrong with your pitching hand, you know, you're definitely thinking about it.
Well, there's another fastball, 86 miles an hour. This is not the Tim Hudson that we saw earlier, and I think that's the reason Maka's got the bullpen up there. He can't wait too much longer.
2-1 pitch. That one drifted. Now 3-1.
Well, if he loses Varitek, you got to believe they'll go to the pen.
Got to get him out of there.
Johnny Damon up next. 101 for Hudson. Pedro at 97. And he did lose him. Ball 4.
He's in trouble.
So he has walked his first man of the ball game, and it comes leading off the 7th inning against the scariest offense in baseball. And Johnny Damon up now. He is 1 for 3.
Well, if you've watched this kid pitch all year long, and I know Tim Hudson is a gamer, and I know they would love to be able to leave him out there, but you have got to get him out of this ball game as well as he's pitched early, especially pitching against Pedro. The last thing that you want to do is give this young man a chance to lose this ball game. Get Bradford or get Rincon in the ball game, and you've got to go to your bullpen.
Especially with the confidence that you have in your bullpen. There's so much confidence in Bradford and in Rincon that is probably the right move right now.
They should be doing that move right now.
Because Rincon is certainly ready. He's been warming up over the last couple of innings. Maka decides not to go to him. Damon, of course, a threat to bunt. Chavez in close at third base. Runner on. And nobody out in a 1-run game. Damon 3 out of 15 lifetime off Tim Hudson. Sharply but foul up past first base. But he ripped it. Of course, the Oakland A bullpen, very, very good. A 3.65 ERA. Boston's has scuffled. I think that's a well-told story. 48 saves. Folk has been the closer, and he's done a tremendous job all season long for Maka.
Well, like we said, this is an outstanding bullpen. There are no reservations about going to this pen and what you're going to get. This bullpen has been solid, especially Bradford.
You've got a better chance of success with a guy at first base than you do waiting around for Johnny Damon to hit a double.
0-1 pitch on the infield. Ellis to Tejada, run on the first. Double play. So Maka stays with Hudson, whether he's injured or not, whether that thumb continues to ache or not, and it pays off with a 4-6-3 twin killing. 2 down.
This just shows you the kind of competitor that Tim Hudson is. His velocity's down about 4 miles an hour, and he's still out there getting double play balls.
And this is the pitch earlier that he threw to Johnny Damon, that Johnny Damon allowed to get further into the strike zone and hit it to left field. This time, he was able to get him out in front, and he got the double play ball this time around.
Here's Garciaparra, but just as the A's want to see him with nobody on base. Nomar tonight is 1 for 3 with a single.
David, you played with this guy. You know what kind of competitor Hudson is. I guarantee you he went in that dugout. He told Maka, "You're not taking me out of the game."
Oh, yeah. I mean, anytime you take Hudson out, it's like taking a little kid, keeping him screaming from the PlayStation. You know, you're going to get a fight every time.
Line shot slicing down that line, and Guillen's not going to get it. It falls in for a hit. The second of the night for Garciaparra. So he's aboard in front of Todd Walker, who has not been retired by Hudson. Walker is 3 for 3.
Just doesn't have the snap that he had early in the ball game on these pitches. That's another split finger. The ball's going down.
Well, here comes Maka. And whether Hudson wants to come out or not, that's going to do it for him. He's not been able to get Walker tonight.
What a gutsy performance.
Garciaparra with a base hit moments ago. He's on at first, and there's the call to the bullpen. Hudson got Manny Ramirez every time he had to get him, including with the bases loaded. And listen to this big hand in Oakland for Tim Hudson. A standing ovation here at Network Associates Coliseum. And he leaves with a 1-run lead, but the tying run at first base. And Walker coming on. We'll be back in Oakland right after this.
Studio breaking news from ESPN. Rush Limbaugh has resigned from Sunday NFL Countdown. It was last Sunday on the NFL Countdown program in which Limbaugh suggested that Donovan McNabb, the Eagles quarterback, was overrated and that, quote, the media has been very desirous that a black quarterback do well, end quote. In offering his resignation, Limbaugh had these comments. My comments this past Sunday were directed at the media and were not racially motivated. I offered an opinion. This opinion has caused discomfort to the crew, which I regret. I love Sunday NFL Countdown and do not want to be a distraction to the great work done by all who work on it. Therefore, I have decided to resign. I appreciate the opportunity to be a part of the show and wish all the best to those who make it happen. ESPN accepted his resignation, saying, we regret the circumstances surrounding this. We believe he took the appropriate action to resolve this matter expeditiously. Once again, Rush Limbaugh resigning from Sunday NFL Countdown. More on this on SportsCenter following the game. Now back to Oakland.
All right, Carl, thank you very much. Hudson has left the game. 2 down, a runner at first, and the batter is Todd Walker. Rincon, the left-hander, on to face him. Walker with 2 singles and a home run tonight. 64 appearances during the regular season with a 3.25 ERA.
Well, it's interesting, though, that they're leaving Todd Walker in here. He hasn't performed all that well against lefties all year. You got a guy like Gabe Kapler over there who could pinch hit, and Damian Jackson could go in at second base. And you're down in this game. You're not up.
I think part of the reason that they want to leave Walker in, especially being down in this game, is the fact that you know you're going to see Keith Folk before the end of the night. And I think that's the reason you keep that. They're going to keep. He's going to want to keep that left-hander in there.
Garciaparra, having just singled, gets his lead. That one misses outside. And the crowd didn't like it. Just off the corner, 2-0.
Hey, you never know. They might walk him again and put him on base to face the big man.
Well, that big man is on deck, and that's Manny Ramirez. 0 for 5 tonight in terms of driving in runs. He's left 5 men on base. He's 0 for 3. Left the bases loaded back in the 3rd inning. Here's the 2-0 pitch to Walker. Swinging a high fly ball right field. Guy going back to the wall. It's gone. 2-run homer for Todd Walker. And Boston has the lead in the 7th, 4-3. How about that? His 2nd home run of the ball game. Wow.
Oh, my goodness. He's seeing the ball like a beach ball. It doesn't matter who's out there, left-handed, right-handed. Hey, Grady may rethink his idea of sitting him against Vito and sitting him against Lilly. He gets a hanging breaking ball.
He knew it when he hit it.
Watch Hudson's reaction. A terrific night's work wasted. It sails out of the ballpark. 2 home runs and 3 RBIs for Walker. He is 4 for 4.
And it has to be gratifying for him. I mean, he has sat many nights against lefties all season long. And Grady showed the confidence in him. He was 3 for 3. Figured, hey, I'll go ahead and keep him in the lineup. And he came up big. He's telling Trot right there it was a breaking ball. He hung him a breaking ball.
Talking about riding the hot hand. Wow. I was thinking the same thing, David. There was much pinch hit right here. You got Damian.
Right, only because he hasn't played much against lefties this year. And he hasn't performed that well against lefties. But, hey, that was this year. This is October. This is a new season.
When you see things like that happen, it makes you think this just could be Boston's year.
Well, a long way to go before the Red Sox salt this one away. Ramirez tonight has struck out, grounded out, and hit into a forced play. And what's running through the mind of Hudson right here?
Well, he did an outstanding job tonight. He left with the lead. And Rendon has been nails all year. He just hung a breaking ball and didn't get a pop-up, didn't get a foul ball. He paid for it. But this game is far from over. We're only talking about seventh inning. These A's, they're another team that will keep battling you to the end.
Pedro's not going to finish this ball game. He's not going to pitch 9 innings. He's already up there in pitches, and we know we're going to see that Red Sox bullpen before it's all over with.
Which is probably not warming the heart of Pedro Martinez right now. Fly ball right field along the line. Here comes Dye with room to make the catch in fair territory. That will do it. And Tom Walker, for the second time tonight, does this. He touches them all, and the Red Sox lead it by 1. With a 4-3 lead over the Oakland A's, Tom Walker, the Red Sox second baseman, has just blasted his second home run of the game. 3 RBIs, he has 4 hits. And the last time anyone had 2 home runs in an American League Division Series game was 1 year ago tonight. That was Troy Gloss with Anaheim. And Walker has matched him here this evening in Oakland. Ramon Hernandez has flied out and drawn a walk tonight. He'll be followed by Dye and then Singleton. Pedro Martinez up to 100 pitches exactly. He has never lost in the postseason. 3-0 with a 1.13 ERA. That's up high.
Well, there's not many pitches that Pedro can go past 100. He's got to get some contact early. You can start to see him getting a little bit fatigued when he starts getting around that 100, 105 mark.
And with this Oakland team, you just have to regroup. I mean, you had the momentum, you had the edge, and you almost get deflated. You have to remind you guys, hey guys, we come from behind many times. Let's do it again. We're the type of team, we're not affected by this. Let's put some hits together, and let's go ahead and score some runs here. This game is not over just because Pedro has the lead now in the 7th inning.
So the average for Pedro pitches per start is 98. He has gone as high as 128. Just over 100 now, 102.
And I know that Grady Little would love for Pedro to be able to get through this inning and just have to use the bullpen for the 8th and the 9th. But Pedro has got to get 3 outs here.
Popped up. That'll drip back out of play.
So you look at that dugout. They realize, hey, we've been down before. You see them clapping their hands, guys on their feet. They've been in this position before. They have the experience of being down late in the game. They've been here before. They know what it takes. They just got to actually go out and do it.
Martinez trying to get Hernandez here, and he's going to step out again.
And they've come back on this Red Sox bullpen twice already this year when they've been down in the ball game and ended up with victories.
Well, the Achilles heel of the Red Sox all season has been the bullpen. They've used 25 different pitchers during the season. The bullpen ERA at 4.87. Better only than the Rangers and the Royals. And they converted just 36 out of 57 save chances. That one's going to sneak through the hole for a base hit. A leadoff single here in the 7th inning for Oakland. Nobody throwing yet in the Red Sox pen.
So here they come. I mean, you go through a whole season, through a lot of ups and downs, and you look at this pitch here, out over the plate, does a great job of hitting it in the hole.
Watch the reaction by Pedro Martinez, pointing to his head here after the single.
Well, but you don't know if he's talking to Veritek for the pitch selection or if he's saying it to himself, but that's not the pitch he wanted there.
Here's Dye. He's 0 for 2 as he looks at a strike. He's flied out to right and popped out to second. A 4-3 game in the 7th inning, nobody out.
Dye's had a tough season, a lot of injuries, knee, separated his shoulder. I mean, it would be huge for him to come up big now.
Activity now in the Boston pen. Out to Garcia-Parra. To Walker 1. On the first high throw, and that one sails over the head of Millar. So Dye will be given second base. They had a chance to turn 2. Walker finally did something wrong tonight as he launched the throw.
Well, Hernandez was hustling, trying to get down there to break up the double play. Sometimes you don't even have to get on the second baseman. You just got to get in his way. And obviously, Hernandez did enough to get Todd Walker's attention to make him throw this ball away.
And see, sometimes, especially when a guy's not quite on you yet, you got to look at the way he gripped the ball. He knew he just didn't get a good grip on it and allowed the ball to sail.
I think he just tried to be a little bit too quick on the turn and just didn't get any grip to look like at all on that one.
Almost like doing a shot.
You got it.
Well, they made 16 errors during the regular season. This one could really hurt now because the tying run for Oakland is in scoring position as a result of it. And Singleton, the batter, he has doubled and he's popped out. Inside for ball one on Chris Singleton. Now the A's got lousy production out of their outfielders this year. Collectively, they hit just .241, last in the majors, just 45 home runs, 28th in the majors. Slugging percentage, they ranked 29th. They really missed David Justice.
Well, I tell you, this was not the season for them offensively, but it was situations like this when they needed the timely hitting, they were able to get it throughout the year. And there's no situation bigger probably at this point than right now, because they definitely need to get this run across. You're not going to get too many opportunities to score off Pedro Martinez. When you do get that opportunity, you must take advantage of it.
Well, if you can squeeze out 4 runs against Martinez in a playoff game, regardless of how it ends, you got to feel like you did something. Did he check? He did. It's in tight. 3-0 on Singleton.
Great patience by Singleton here. But Pedro is not going to give in. He's going to continue to try to middle, try to pitch, try to make you chase a pitch outside the strike zone.
Mark Ellis up next. One down, a man at second in the pitch. That's the automatic strike, 3-1.
We're definitely getting in the danger zone pitch-wise for Pedro Martinez.
There's another opportunity for Singleton to look for his pitch. He's still in the driver's seat. If it's not the pitch you're looking for, don't swing.
That base hit ties it. Guy certainly has had a lot of injury trouble this year. A separated right shoulder. Put him on the disabled list in July. He was out 2 months. But he is the tying run for the A's at second. Fouled away by Singleton.
How about that? Change up on the inside part of the plate. It's the same location of the ball that Singleton hit down the line. That was the fastball. He sees that pitch as a fastball and really opens those hips and really rolls over.
Three and two now, one away.
Pedro never gives in. It's amazing. What do you look for now? Kitchen sink? A prayer.
Here's the payoff. Lifted into left along the line. Foul territory. Here comes Manny Ramirez to make the catch. Dive back into second. So 2 down, and the top of the order is Mark Ellis.
Well, even if Pedro can hold the fort together here in this 7th inning, I've got to believe, just looking at the number of pitches, this has got to be, I don't know that he can continue to keep going. I think if you ask him to go past this, I think you're asking for trouble.
They may be careful here with Ellis. Ellis already has a walk and he has a hit. So he's seeing the ball well tonight. Don't look past Ellis as easy out here.
I know he doesn't want to face Duranzo again. You can guarantee that.
See, Ellis looks very comfortable up there against Pedro. And he has a little sock in his bag, too, especially middle end.
Well, coming into the ballgame, he was 2 for 2 career off Pedro. And he's 1 for 2 tonight. He's also walked and scored. I don't know how anyone can look comfortable against Pedro Martinez, but if anyone's managing, it might be Mark Ellis.
And surprisingly enough, he does have some power. If Pedro comes with a fastball here in the middle part of the plate, this kid can drive it out of the ballpark.
9 home runs during the regular season. Here comes the 2-0 pitch. That one nipped the corner. 2-1. A pitcher's pitch.
Looks like Pedro's trying to run this ball just back to the outside corner. But when you're tired and you don't have that life in your arm, that last little hand snap, that ball just won't cut back to the corner, just stayed straight.
A little bit low, 3-1.
I think that's what Dave Wallace and Grady Little are talking about right now. What are we going to do? Pedro's right around that 115, 116 mark. How long do we push him? Do we push him past 120?
Network Associates Coliseum, the site. Oakland, California. Dave O'Brien, David Justice, Jeff Brantley, and Dave Ryan. Game number 1. Hudson pitched a dandy, but the bullpen allowed the Red Sox to grab the lead. A 2-run homer by Todd Walker, who has hit 2 home runs tonight, 4 hits, and Boston clings to a 1-run lead. That's outside for ball 4. And he's got the last man Pedro will face tonight. Here comes Grady Little. First and second, 2 down. We did not think that Pedro would throw more than 115 pitches, that he would max out right there. The home run threat to Rizzo about to come up. Embry and Timlin have been warming in the bullpen, and it will not be the last pitch he throws tonight. He will be allowed to face a Roberto Durazo here. Let's go back to the 3rd inning. The second time they met in this game. With 2 men on. That one into the gap. Lifted to right center by Durazo. 2 runs scored on the double. 3 runs scored in the inning, and Oakland had the advantage at that time.
Well, he did an outstanding job in that at-bat of making Pedro come to him. He didn't chase anything out of the strike zone. Pedro had to come to him, and he made him pay for it.
And he's got to do that same exact thing right here, because you know Pedro, especially with 2 outs, he's going to try to dance around that strike zone as much as he possibly can.
Up and away for ball 1 on deck. Eric Chavez.
He's tired. When you start seeing a pitcher leaving the ball up and away to his arm side, that shoulder flying forward, that is fatigue, gentlemen.
Are you a little bit surprised that Embry was not called on in this game?
I'm leaving Pedro.
That's on the corner for strike.
I'm letting him get through this inning, and then I'm going to the bullpen and just hope and pray that he can get through this at bat with either Durazo or Chavez.
2 on, 2 out. Way down and missed by Durazo. He took a wild swing.
Veritek's coming out to make sure that there are no mistakes. You got a 1-2 count on a dangerous hitter. Let's make sure we put him away right here. Don't let him get back into the count. Let's make a pitch. Let's get on the same page, and let's get this guy out and get out of here.
Up to 120 pitches.
And he can do just about anything here. He can go fastball in, he can go with a breaking ball going in, or go with that changeup.
Here's the 24th pitch of this inning. Jammed and fouled away by Durazo. Just got the bat on it.
Yeah, he went with the fastball in.
He got him with 2 fastballs away that Durazo swung through. This pitch is almost a foot inside. Trying to get Durazo to speed that bat up a little bit.
But they may see something in Durazo, because this is the pitch that Durazo hit weekly his last at bat. Pretty much the same pitch.
Getting back to the mound. Fouls that one away.
What Durazo does a lot of times is he'll cheat early in the count, trying to get a fastball that he can jerk into that right center field gap. But once you get ahead of him, he fights off that inside pitch, trying to gear down just a little bit so he can keep his hands back, guarding against an off-speed pitch, a backdoor breaking ball, or that changeup that we know Pedro loves to set you up for.
The A's with runners at first and second, a tying run still there at second. Seems like Jermaine Dye has been out there all night. Martinez trying to freeze him right there and end the inning with a strikeout.
Now, see, Durazo's stepping out because he's got a lot of thoughts going through his head. He's probably just reviewed every pitch, and he's trying to think with Pedro. Now, he threw me this last pitch.
Don't think with Pedro.
2 pitches ago. Where's he coming right now?
You start thinking with Pedro, you're done.
The 1-2. Inside around the hands. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Pedro's just trying to make sure that he doesn't let Durazo cheat to the outside part of the plate. And even on that pitch right there, you can see Durazo's top half really trying to guard against that outer part of the outside corner.
Game 1 in Oakland. A single ties it at 4. And again, Durazo is going to make it tough on Pedro Martinez, still hanging around.
Well, anytime that you've got a hitter that's fouling off balls down the third baseline, especially the way that Durazo is, getting coverage on the outside part of the plate, the last thing that you want to do is give him something soft, because that's what he hit in the right center field gap earlier. He's guarding against soft. Stay hard. Make him hit a fastball.
This is the 8th pitch of the at-bat. Over 120 pitches for Pedro Martinez.
Danger zone.
The 2-2. Again fouled back to the screen on a 92-mile-an-hour swifty.
And that swing is exactly what Jeff is talking about. He's prepared for any pitch. So any fastball that's out over the plate, he's letting it get deeper. Right now, the best pitch probably for Pedro is a fastball inside that'll possibly jam him. But anything soft would be danger for Pedro right now.
He is really trying to guard on that ball away. But if you do come in, it's got to be right on the inside corner. Durazo's not going to swing. And maybe he's trying to go inside and paralyze him with that little comeback on the inside corner.
And now Veritek would like to work with Pedro Martinez. He'll head out to the hill.
See, this 2-2 pitch is very important, because if you go to 3-2, now you have the runners moving. So this is the most important pitch right now. And if you can take a chance, maybe with an off-speed pitch, but you got to be banking on him swinging at it. Because if he doesn't swing at it, it's out of the strike zone. Now you find yourself 3-2 when you really do have to come to him.
Now you got trouble. I'd like to see a fastball on the inside corner down and in, because even if Durazo swings at it, I don't think he can do anything with it.
And he doesn't appear as if he sees that ball that well, based off the way that he's approached it with his swing.
Up high for ball 3. So these two are going to go all the way, 2 down, 3 balls, 2 strikes. Runners at first and second, they'll get a head start. Coming up, the 10th pitch of this at bat, throw in 2 mound meetings and a lot of racing hearts in 1 at bat. Runners go, the 3-2, and again fouled away. What an at-bat this is.
He got that ball in, but he didn't get it in enough, and that's the danger that you have when it's 3-2. You can't pick to the inside corner at this point. You've got to get plenty of the plate, because you've got to make sure that whether Durazo swings or whether he doesn't, you still get a strike.
And how much is fatigue playing a part in his inability to locate where he wants to right now?
All right. Pitch number 11. And the Durazo saga.
This is a great duel here. Durazo has all the thoughts going through his head, what Pedro might throw.
And you can see all the signs that Veritek's giving back there, touching side to side, trying to make sure that Jermaine Dye is not being able to relay those signs to Durazo.
Dye at second, Ellis at first. Durazo backs out again.
And sometimes as a pitcher, when you see this many foul balls and a hitter being right on pitches, whether they're in or out, you wonder, is Dye giving those signs from second base?
Here it comes again.
Very good.
Veritek. Actually, Veritek on ball 4. Came up on the gun into third base. And then the runner got down there, Dye. He was safely there. A check swing by Durazo. I'm not sure how in the world he checked that swing.
Pedro was not very happy, showing a lot of emotion out there after this pitch.
Well, he sure did.
Here's the breaking ball in the dirt. You see Durazo. He holds up. Oh, I sure thought that was a swing.
I didn't think he went. But that's a quitter. I didn't think he went.
What a shot. Justice didn't think he went. So it's ball 4 and the bases are loaded for Chavez. And Pedro will pitch to him as well. 0 for 3. He struck out in the first, lined out to left in the third, flied out to left in the fifth.
But Pedro is heading into territory pitch-wise that he hasn't been this year.
Fouled away for a strike.
But how much of this is Grady Little's lack of confidence in his pen? You have to wonder. I mean, his pitch count is really getting up there. He's not pounding the strike zone as frequent as he has been earlier. How much of this is lack of trust in his bullpen?
That's part of it. I think it's part that you got Pedro out there.
Popped up. Veritek there. Foul ground. He's got it. Veritek clinches it. And despite loading up the bases on a couple of walks and a hit, the Oakland A's cannot produce a run. 130 pitches for Pedro Martinez. On the last of those, he gets Chavez to pop up, and they leave him jammed. 33 pitches in that inning. It only felt like all of them were to Rubio Durazo.
Well, this is what the Oakland A's game plan was coming into this ballgame. Make Pedro work, foul off pitches, make him get deep pitch counts, and try to get him out of the ballgame. Well, guess what? Pedro didn't throw 115 pitches. He threw 130, and he came up huge. Even though this AB didn't go exactly as planned, he still got himself out of the inning.
Well, he wound up walking him to load up the bases, but then he got Chavez to pop out to the catcher. 130 pitches in 7 innings for the slender Dominican. 50,606 looking on here in Oakland tonight. In Boston carries a 1-run lead into the 8th.
After this night, Pedro's going to feel like a truck hit him tomorrow when he wakes
I think he already does.
130 pitches.
Well, he's done for the night. And we'll just see if the bullpen can hold it.
One down, baby.
Those words have been often spoken around the Boston Red Sox in 2003. Many times it has not ended well.
What great performances, not only by Pedro, but Tim Hudson as well. I mean, guys just going beyond what was expected of him in this ballgame.
Well, you know, there's part of me that says, yeah, you expect that in the playoffs, but Pedro Martinez, 130 pitches. We just saw him going up toward the clubhouse. He's looking for someplace to collapse.
130 pitches by Martinez, and then we watched Tim Hudson on the other side. His velocity went from 92, 93 all the way down to 86, dropping his elbow down below his shoulder, still pitching in the ball game, not wanting Ken Maka to take him out.
Right, both finding a way to get the job done. They both did a great job.
David Ortiz tonight hitless. He's 0 for 3. Millar and Miller to follow him. The Red Sox have scored all 4 of their runs tonight on homers. A pair of solo shots and a 2-run home run by Todd Walker. That's ball 4 to Ortiz. So he reaches for the first time. And Dave Ryan, we've talked a lot about the Red Sox offense and how resilient it is. They're showing it tonight.
Amazing depth, Dave, with their RBIs. As we talked about at the top of the broadcast, 8 different players with 80-plus RBIs. The first time in Major League history it's been done since before the year 1900. Tonight's big hero, certainly Todd Walker, who has the 2 home runs, 4 base hits. He's driven in most of the Red Sox runs. And also resiliency. Jason Veritek, a big word yesterday during the workout day about how the team could come back. The other big hero tonight offensively for Boston, Veritek with his home run.
Yeah, and that combination, Dave, of Walker and Veritek, 6 for 6, 3 home runs and 4 RBIs between the pair. Manny Ramirez, David Ortiz, 0 for 7 combined. But Ortiz is now on for Kevin Millar, who's gone 2 for 3 himself. 42 come from behind wins for those Brazilian Red Sox, the most in the American League.
But that points to the fact that I was saying earlier that this team plays the full 27 outs, 9 innings. Rincon better start finding the strike zone, or they're going to put more runs on the board. You want to keep this game a 1-run game.
Wrapped down the line, but foul by Millar. And back at Fenway Park, his Bruce Springsteen impression was a huge hit on the ballpark Diamond Vision. It was the Red Sox version of the Rally Monkey. Something Millard did years ago and hoped they had burned the tape, but they didn't. And wound up being quite a spectacle. There's a pretty good impression of the boss born in the USA. Cut on the miss by Millard. He fans. One man out. Well, this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. By the way, the new MLB Authentic Collection Performance batting practice jerseys and caps, Dave Justice tells me they're in. Now anyone can get them. Just visit MLB.com. Bill Miller backing away, the American League batting champ, 0 for 3 tonight.
You start looking at this Boston lineup, and I know we've talked about the production, but it's left, right, all the way down the order, and then you've got a couple of switch hitters at the bottom. Even if you're changing bullpen pitchers, you can't stay out there too long.
They make it very tough for you to match up against them. And there's not an easy out anywhere in this lineup.
Well, if you take out Rincon and you bring in Bradford, well, you may get one right-hander up there, but then you've got a lefty, you've got a couple of switch hitters that are coming up. Very difficult to get a consistent matchup throughout this lineup.
And Maka, who very nearly became the Red Sox manager a couple of seasons ago when the Red Sox were in the market for a new skipper, and Billy Beane said, you can't talk to Ken Maka. He's too valuable to us. And the Oakland A's said no, even though Maka had managed in the Red Sox system. One of the many twists in this series was Beane himself for a while, for about 24 hours, was the general manager of the Red Sox. So eventually turning that job down. And Theo Epstein's come in and done a terrific job as the boy wonder. He's here tonight watching his Red Sox in Oakland.
And Maka was upset when he was denied that opportunity to interview for that position. But fortunately for him, the Oakland A's job opened up, and they chose him because, you know, coaching for as long as he's been in the coaching business, and almost all coaches want to be managers. You just never know when you're going to get that opportunity. So he was very upset that he wasn't able to interview for it.
Well, in the playoffs in October, facing the Red Sox of Grady Little, that job eventually went to Grady, another highly respected baseball man. And they go head-to-head in this best-of-5 division series. The Red Sox up by 1 in the 8th.
And as I watch Rincon start to build up his pinch count, he's supposed to be their left-handed specialist. You get out there in a ball game like this and you throw too many pitches, you can't bring him back. And if you do, he may lose some of his effectiveness.
Three and 2 Ortiz with a tiny lead at first base. Fouled off. Sparks and Bradford now both warming up in the Oakland A's pen. Pedro Martinez with 130 pitches tonight, a season high in October. Rincon from the set and the pitch. Popped up. Hernandez flips the mask, and that one is over the screen.
You definitely want to try to keep this a one-run ball game. You don't want to let the game get too far ahead of you, especially when you know the Red Sox bullpen has been susceptible. Try to keep this game as close as you possibly can.
As well as there's guys in this Oakland A's lineup with one swing of the bat can tie this ball game up.
Miguel Tejada comes quickly to mind, and by the way, he's going to lead off the bottom of the 8th. The pitch to Miller. The runner goes, swung on, driven deep into the corner. That one hit right on the button. Fair ball. It'll skip over the head again. Into third, Ortiz. He'll pull up there. It's a double for Bill Miller. So the batting champ comes up with his first playoff hit of 2003. And it's second and third and one down. And here come the Red Sox again.
That's what we were talking about earlier. This is a team that keeps coming at you. They keep trying to power on runs. They don't give away at bats. They're battling you for every out, every pitch.
Tries to get Miller to chase a slider down and in, but he leaves it on the inside part of the plate. And Miller is so good, both from the left side and the right side, getting inside the baseball and keeping a pitch like that fair down the left field line.
Well, David McCarty being announced as a pinch hitter. Here comes Maka out of the dugout. And he'll make a move right here to lift Rincon. Second and third, one down. Bradford coming on. He heads to the hill here in Oakland, trying to keep those runners right where they are. We'll return in a moment. One down in the top half of the eighth inning. The Red Sox have runners at second and third, and they own a one-run advantage here against the Oakland A's. Chad Bradford coming on to pitch for Oakland. He's going to be facing the switch hitter Adrian Brown in just a moment, and not McCarty, who comes on back. Rincon leaving the ball game after having just given up that extra base hit, and also the two-run homer to Todd Walker, without question, even with the tremendously gutsy effort by Pedro Martinez, who threw 130 pitches in 7 innings. It's Todd Walker's game to be the most valuable player tonight.
Well, it has been. I mean, anytime you hit 2 home runs out of the ballpark, and we had just got finished saying that maybe they should pinch hit a right-hander because he's lefty on lefty, hadn't faced too many left-handers, and he hits one in the seats. Big hits.
Now Pedro Martinez with a season-high 130 pitches. So certainly a playoff kind of performance by the Red Sox ace. The infield creeps in now for Oakland. Brown hitting with runners at second and third. After the double by Bill Miller, Ortiz at third base. Boston up by 1. And the sidearmer spins in a strike.
Well, the infield is playing in. Chad Bradford, the new Oakland A's pitcher, is really a ground ball pitcher. Right now, they've got to be able to cut down Ortiz at the plate and keep this insurance run from getting across the plate so they can keep this a one-run ball game.
As you look at Ellis and Tejada, if it was a fast guy at third base, they'd be in more. But because of the lack of speed by Ortiz, they can back up a little bit. Therefore, having more of an opportunity to get a ball that may be hit on the ground.
And when you watch Chad Bradford throw, don't be fooled by the radar gun readings. Even though he may be throwing the ball 78, 82 miles an hour, the ball looks like it's coming out of those white shoes that the Oakland A's wear. He really gets down close to where his right foot is when he releases the baseball. It's got tremendous sinking action, and he doesn't run away from the left-handers. It drops straight down. Very difficult to square.
And as a hitter, it's tough to pick up the release point. It may take you a couple pitches before you really, truly realize where it's coming from.
Well off the corner. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Brown.
You're so accustomed to pitchers coming from over the top. And all of a sudden, a guy coming from down there, you see the little elevation in it. It's just takes you maybe 2, 3, 4 pitches sometimes just to realize where it's coming from.
That closes his hand to the dirt right there. Like he was about to scrape the dirt.
2 men in scoring position here in the 1-2 pitch. Cut on and missed. He ate him up. Brown strikes out. 2 gone.
I can only imagine from a hitter's perspective how difficult it is to face Chad Bradford for the one and only time and have to hit from throwing from down here.
It's just very tough because as a hitter, you're so accustomed to facing pitchers that throw up over their shoulder. And it's always a process of where's he coming from? Where do I need to find this pickup? The rotation of the ball. And all that is tough when you got a guy throwing from down under.
Is Veritek now a single, a home run, and a walk, and they're going to put him on and load up the bases. So he'll be intentionally passed. That'll bring up Johnny Damon as the Red Sox look for what could be the put-away blow tonight. So Veritek will get to first base, having not made an out tonight. It's also true of Todd Walker, although Walker's had the more glorious evening with a pair of home runs, 4 for 4, and 3 RBIs is Todd Walker.
And you may ask yourself, well, why are they walking Veritek? Johnny Damon is a left-handed hitter. He's still facing a right-handed pitcher. The reason that they're doing this is to allow the infield to play back. That way you've got a force at any base. You've got a ground ball pitcher on the mound. It increases your chances of getting an out. And right now, outs are crucial for the Oakland A's, especially with a runner at third base.
Well, there's another reason, too. Veritek, 4 for 8 lifetime off Chad Bradford. And so they're all filled up. Damon to step in. He's 1 for 4 with a single. Hernandez and Tejada to the hill. So a man at every base for Boston. Now they had the bases loaded in the 3rd inning, and Manny Ramirez in a batter's box. That was with Tim Hudson on the hill, and Hudson got him to ground out to second base to end it.
It seems like the Red Sox have had chances time and time again to break this ball game open, but the Oakland A's pitchers have continued to make the pitches that they needed to make.
Oakland with the #1 ranked pitching staff in the American League, and that one drifted just a little outside ball 1. Very close. Damon let it go for ball 1. And Johnny Damon had a poor first half, but he did hit .293 in the second half of the Red Sox. The former Oakland A. So he started warming up at the right time. No place to put him. Outside again, 2-0. He's been a good hitter in his career with the bases loaded, right at 400.
And this is a big pitch right now. He has to throw it in the strike zone. Johnny Damon's going to get a fastball. This is the biggest pitch of the night.
If he hits it into the gap, he's at third base, especially with this very fast outfield turf. The 2-0. Right there on the corner, 2-1.
That's a great 2-0 pitch. Outside corner at the knees.
Even though Bradford does have unconventional mechanics, he has very conventional control. This ball starts on the plate and breaks right to the outside corner.
The side armor is 2-1. Chopped to third. Chavez will touch the bag, and that's it. Boston loads them up. They cannot score. So the bullpen holds, and Tejada, the reigning MVP, is about to step in a one-run game in Oakland. About ready for the bottom half of the 8th inning here in Oakland. The Red Sox with a 4-3 advantage over the A's in Game 1 of the division series. Jeff Brantley, Dave O'Brien, and David Justice, along with Dave Bryan, Mike Timlin, is about to make an appearance. He's been a very reliable reliever for the Boston Red Sox. That's not a sentence spoken very often in 2003. A reliable Red Sox reliever. He's been that. Adrian Brown, who struck out in a pinch hit appearance, will now take over in right field for Nixon. So Pedro Martinez threw 130 pitches, a season high, in 7 innings. He walked 4. Got out of a bases loaded situation in the 7th inning. And coming up, Sports Center with Linda Cohn and Steve Levy. And here's what we're talking about, all the baseball stories. One-sided Marlins as they made a terrific effort today against the Giants, even up that series. The Atlanta Braves coming back as well, and the McNabb-Limbaugh controversy. Let's go downstairs to Dave Ryan, and Dave, a little bit of a delay here to work on the mound there before Timlin could start to pitch. What was up with this?
That's right, Dave. The first pitch that Mike Timlin threw in his warm-up, just getting ready for this half inning, the air mail about 10 feet over the catcher's head, so he called out Randy Marks, the home plate umpire, immediately to show some problems with the mound. I guess the release when Timlin tried to put that ball up, the first one, it went well over the catcher's head, so they called the grounds crew out, patted it down a little bit, raked it a little bit. I guess he's more comfortable now. The rest of his warm-ups to Jason Varitek, much more accurate thing.
The last thing that you want as a pitcher, especially a reliever coming into a ball game, a lot of these starters, they land in the same spot over and over and over again, and they create a hole out there. Well, if your foot doesn't land in the same hole that they already have, it's going to cause you some problems with your mechanics. It takes nothing but to call the ground crew off and get the hole fixed, and that's what Mike Timlin did.
Now here's the first warm-up that Timlin uncorked. Watch this one.
Well, that's not good, Jeff. It must be the mound.
Just a little bit inside. Yeah, let that one go. Here's Tejada. Miguel Tejada 1 for 3. Had an RBI single off Pedro Martinez. He's way back in the 3rd inning. That's the only inning the A's have scored in tonight. That's strike 1. 1 for 7 off of Timlin, but the 1 left the yard.
But Timlin has good movement on his fastball and runs in on right-handers. He gets in trouble when he misses location because then he leaves it over the middle of the plate. And Tejada is one guy who's pretty good at hitting the ball middle in.
And when he does hit it middle in over the fence, the Oakland A's are 22-4. So Tejada is their good luck guy, 22-4 when he homers.
With this team, since the second half, as Tejada and Chavez go, so goes this A's offense.
This evening, they've been held to 6 hits. The right-hander comes home. Popped up on the infield. There's Miller. Crosses into foul ground and make that catch for out number 1. On the way in the bottom of the 8th for Oakland. Running out of chances.
Well, that looked like a breaking ball that he was trying to get to the outside part. David, how hard is it to, if you're, let's say you're facing a left-hander and you get a backup breaking ball that you're expecting to break away from you, and it's hard to get your hands through the baseball.
Well, it's a tough, anytime they throw you a breaking ball, you're expecting it to complete its full rotation. When it backs up on you, it's almost like throwing a fastball with a different spin. And I never see guys hit that ball with a backup breaking ball. Never.
As pitchers, we just wish we could put that in a bottle where the catcher could call it a backup breaking ball and you could throw it.
Right.
It doesn't happen.
Billy McMillan getting loose in the on-deck area. And he's going to be hitting for Guillen, given the opportunity here. That's across for a strike on Hatterberg, who's gone 0 for 3. The closer, Keith Folk, is starting to loosen now in the bullpen for Oakland. But the Red Sox have a 1-run lead with 1 down in the bottom of the 8th inning. That's too high. Meanwhile, it's Young Kim. Another side armor, this time with the Red Sox. He's getting ready. The maligned Boston bullpen, but they need 5 more outs to take a 1-0 lead in this series. Cut on and missed. He got him. Timlin blew him away. Hatterberg strikes out. There, 2 gone.
It looked like he went with a 4-seamer up in the strike zone, and Hatterberg wasn't able to catch up to it.
Varitek wanted that on the pitch before. You saw him set up real high, and then they go back to it, just lowering the ball just a little bit, enough to entice Hatterberg to take a swing.
And sometimes you get those type of swings when you know it's a sinker baller. You're anticipating a sink, and all of a sudden they throw you one that stays on the same level. You get swings like that where guys are late on it.
Well, instead of McMillan, Maka calls him back, and now he'll bring up Terrence Long to hit. So he'll bat for Guillen here with 2 out and the bases empty in the 8th inning. And I think Terrence Long, is safe to say, he would not have chosen the Red Sox for a first-round opponent. He's a career 190 against Boston. On the year, 245 with 14 home runs. Two men out. And that's right through the chute for strike 1.
Well, Terrence Long is a pretty good low ball hitter. And Timlin is a sinker ball pitcher. So be careful about leaving one low and in on Terrence Long. Make sure you keep this ball away. And you can elevate on Terrence Long, especially in and out. But he's a pretty good low ball hitter. You want to stay out of that low and in zone, or he can hit it pretty hard.
And Timlin did allow 11 home runs during the season, so that was a bugaboo for him. Making his 7th postseason appearance.
And a lot of that is due to the fact that he's a sinker ball pitcher. He likes to run the ball in on right-handers. He gets in trouble when he loses his control. When he loses his control, he misses too much over the middle. And when you miss over the middle with these big league hitters, you can give up some home runs.
The 1-1. So now he's in front on Long.
Well, that pitch right there is the one pitch that Timlin, if he threw more, I think it would make him even that much more effective. That little changeup, a little bit off of his fastball, and it keeps guys from guessing. If you make a mistake in the middle of the plate and you continue to change speeds, it doesn't get hammered as much. Instead of a home run, it turns into maybe a single.
As well as the hitter, instead of seeing a pitcher as a 2-pitch pitcher, now you see him as a 3-pitch pitcher. So So it's one more pitch you have to worry about.
Think about it.
2-2. Grady Little closing in on a postseason victory. Pitch fought off foul. I don't think you can say enough about the performance of Pedro Martinez tonight. Certainly not the most dominating he's ever been. Not the sharpest, not by a long shot we've ever seen Pedro. But he was nails. 130 pitches in 7 innings. Scattering 6 hits. He walked 4. And in the last inning, when they loaded up the bases and his pitch count was sky high, he's never been tougher. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Long comes up short. And it's Garciaparra, Walker, and Ramirez. Those 3 coming up in just a moment.
Pressure. Can you give it? Can you take it? Can you feel it? Playoff baseball.
Back in Oakland, where Todd Walker has been the man for Boston tonight, along with Pedro Martinez. Walker with 4 hits, 2 homers, 3 RBIs. Here's Keith Folk now, the closer for Oakland. He led the American League with 43 saves in his first season with the A's. But his team is trailing in the 9th. Garciaparra pops it up. First pitch swinging, and that'll twist back toward the screen. And no play for Hernandez. Strike 1 on Omar. And he has 2 hits tonight, a pair of singles. He's gone 2 for 4. Terrence Long will remain in the game from pinch hitter now to left fielder. 50,606 here in Oakland.
You may wonder why Keith Folk is in this ballgame without a save situation. Well, I can tell you why. Garciaparra and Ramirez, they're going to hit this inning. And Walker is about as hot as they come right now.
You know, when the A's got rid of Billy Koch, everyone wondered if Keith Folk could do the same thing that Billy Koch did last year. And he really turned his career around, because a lot of people said he couldn't close.
Well, there was one guy in Chicago that was the manager that said that he couldn't close, and I think part of that was the way that Folk was used last year, and I think it was obvious the way that the bullpen turned out in Chicago this year. I don't think it was this guy right here. I think it was the guy that was managing the ball club. Folk hasn't changed anything he's done. He's still pitching the same. He's just being used different.
He's just had a great year. He's held opponents to a 184 batting average. Became the first Oakland reliever to lead the American League in saves since Dennis Eckersley in 1992.
And he comes, get it ready, because he's coming right at you. He doesn't walk too many guys.
Well, he's gone to 3-2 on Garciaparra. Walker next, then Manny Ramirez, then David Ortiz, Kevin Millar, batting champ Bill Miller, who bats 7th for Boston. Talking about coming at you. Swinging a high fly ball, low hit. Left center, backing up Singleton, though, with room to make the catch. Nomar just missed one. 1 down in the 9th. Here comes Mr. Walker, and what a night he's had. First inning. A home run to right off of Hudson. But he was just getting warmed up. By the 7th inning, he was 3 for 3, making 4 for 4 with a 2-run homer. This one off of Rincon. That could be the game winner this evening. It gave Boston the 4-3 lead they hold on to right now. Trying to go 5 for 5 in the division series game 1. He takes ball 1.
Now, when Garcia hit that ball, I thought that ball was going to be a lot deeper than what it was. In this ballpark at nighttime, especially dead center, balls just die out here.
That's why they say this is a pitcher's ballpark. The ball just does not fly as well at night as it does during the day.
I think that's what him and Grady are talking about right now. If you hit the ball down the lines, you've got a chance. Dead center field, forget about it.
It says 400, but it doesn't play 400. How about 450?
David, you sound like a man who's come up short a few times in this ballpark out there.
Hey, I'm the king of the first row when they got the home runners. I know.
You know this place. A 1-2 pitch. Fouled away. By the way, there's only been 2 occasions where in Division Series history someone's come up with a 5-hit game. Mike Stanley in '99 with the Red Sox. Marquise Grissom in '95 with Atlanta, as the Atlanta Braves won a World Series that year. Fly ball center field. Easy play for Singleton. And for the first time tonight, Walker is retired. The only time all year that Folk actually blew a save was against these Red Sox, and a man coming up next, Manny Ramirez, on this towering home run in the Oakland Sun. They'll face him now with the bases empty.
And that was one of those ABs where Manny just kept fouling off pitch after pitch after pitch, and he finally got Folk to throw him that fastball inside, and he hit it out of the ballpark.
Manny's been quiet tonight. He's 0 for 4. Flies that one deep to right field. Racing back, Diane Singleton. Singleton makes a fine running catch. On the warning track and against the fence, Manny almost did it again. That ball was smoked. 1, 2, 3, they go. One more chance now for Oakland. As we go to the bottom of the ninth, it's the Red Sox by 1. Bottom of the ninth here in Oakland. Boston leading 4-3. Byung-Hyun Kim coming out of the bullpen. Now his overall numbers with Boston include 16 saves and 3 blown saves. And in the postseason, 0-1 with a .591 ERA in his career, including 3 very big home runs allowed.
Well, Kim is very tough on right-handed hitters simply because he's got you've got that running fastball that's coming to you, and then he drops down and throws you that frisbee slider that looks like it's going to hit you in the back, and it breaks out to the outside corner.
The 0-2 to Hernandez, swinging a high fly center field, but not deep. Damon in for it. Out number 1. The Red Sox 2 outs away from grabbing a 1-0 lead. And in game 2 tomorrow, the Red Sox take on the A's right here in Oakland. It'll be Zito against Wakefield. That's on ESPN 2 at 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 Pacific. And the Twins take on the Yankees in game 2. Minnesota with a 1-0 lead. That's on Fox at 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 Pacific. Radke against Pedro. So terrific pitchers duels just like we've had tonight between Pedro Martinez and Tim Hudson. Pedro trying to get the win, but it's in the hands of the maligned Red Sox bullpen.
This is the matchup here that gets Kim in trouble, especially facing these left-handed batters. He likes to throw that slider down and underneath the hands of these left-handers, but a lot of times he'll leave it out over the plate, and that's when the left-handers hit the balls in the seats.
1 down, and McMillan in there as he takes outside for a ball. 2-0.
And talking to the A's, they said this year Billy McMillan has been outstanding as a pitcher. He's come up with big hits time in, time again.
Singleton on deck. Boston up in the bottom of the ninth, 4-3. Inside, it spins around McMillan. 3-0.
Kim didn't say anything there, but I can assure you from that facial expression, he thought that was a strike.
That was not, and it's ball 4. He's been shaky in the postseason in the past. Let's go back and revisit. We flash back to the 2001 World Series, his worst nightmare.
Oh my God, I mean, this is amazing. There was so much electricity in that stadium that night. But he has been shaky at times. And he now just walks McMillan, so Singleton's seeing the ball well tonight too, so they have an opportunity.
Eric Burns will pinch run at first base, representing the tying run for Oakland. Singleton has a hit tonight. That was a double back in the 3rd inning. He's also flied out 2 times, 1 for 3.
And this is where if Singleton can get a ball in one of these gaps, with the way that this outfield is playing, as slick and as fast as it is, it's going to get to the wall. With the speed that Burns has, he can score.
Embry back up and throwing in the bullpen for the Red Sox. Kim trying to close it out. Right through there for a strike in the knees. 1-1.
Now, if you're a sinker ball pitcher and you're getting that pitch down in the strike zone, why would you throw anything else? All you need right here is a double play. Throw the ball down in the strike zone. If he's going to give you that ball, there's no reason to throw breaking balls or mess mess around with anything else. You can't hit that ball. You can't lift it.
Miller in close and aggressive third. Trying to check his swing, and it hit him. He got hit by the pitch. Singleton got hit and will take his base, and that will move the runner down to second. And out comes the manager, Grady Little, to argue this.
This is where Kim gets in trouble every single time when he gets in these tight ball games, facing left-handers, trying to throw that breaking ball up and in or down and in to the left-handers. Goes back to that sinker. When you get a ball that low in the strike zone and you get an umpire calling it, that's all you got to throw.
Stay right there. I agree with you totally. Instead of messing around, because there's always a chance for hanging this breaking ball and giving up a home run.
Well, clearly he got drilled, but the question initially was, did he swing the bat? And a home plate umpire, Randy Marsh, asked for help from Gary Darling, the third base umpire, and he said he did not swing.
I don't think he swung.
No, he didn't swing at it. I mean, he made a reaction. His pitch.
Yeah, his body momentum continued to carry the bat through, but his hands did not break forward like he was swinging at the pitch.
Right, it stayed back. But I agree with you.
There are 2 on here.
Yeah, when you're getting a pitch that low in the strike zone, stay there. That's a tough pitch to hit.
Here's Mark Ellis. He takes inside a low ball 1. 98 miles an hour, but it missed. Ellis has been trouble for Boston tonight. He's been on base 3 times. 2 walks and a single. The tying run in scoring position in the 9th for Oakland. And that zips in for a strike.
Now you look at that pitch right there, and you tell me that a hitter can take that ball and lift it up from where that is. It's fast, and it's sinking down in the strike zone. That's what you want. But Kim wants to fool around with a breaking ball up in the strike zone. That's just not smart pitching.
Look at how close these 2 teams are in the American League. Wins in their last at bat. Boston #1, Oakland #2. Cut on and missed. 1-2 now on Mark Ellis. Nasty here by Byung-Hyun Kim.
There's nothing that you can do with that except beat it down in the ground, and that's what you're trying to do right here anyway, is get a ground ball to either Jackson or Garcia-Parra up the middle and get this thing over with.
Durazo on deck, 1 down on the 1-2. Missed high, 2-2.
Too many times I think Kim gets caught up in trying to strike the hitter out instead of trying to get a ground ball and let his defense help him out.
Double play not only helps him out, it gets him out of the ball game with a Red Sox victory. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. Ellis down waving, and there are 2 gone.
That was an outstanding breaking ball. After throwing that 96-mile-an-hour fastball low, he comes back with a breaking ball, breaking out over the outside corner. Very tough pitch.
Well, that's a great pitch, but the problem that you have there is a strikeout is not always great, because now you got Durazo coming to the plate instead of getting Mark Ellis to hit your ground ball and getting the game over with.
Little is going to bring Embry into the ball game right now to end it here. 2 down, bottom of the 9th. Durazo next, and we'll be back.